Hey up everybody and welcome back. Well, that head work, well, barrels and head and things, took me longer than I thought, and there was more of interest to show you, so I'm more or less now just continuing from where I stopped the video to make sure it wasn't too long for last week. So we're going to continue. We're going to put this sort of rocker cover on here, bolt that on, do the chain tensioner, and that's going to be it for the engine. Then we're going to move stuff around, bring the rolling chassis in and put the engine in. Now in the past I've had a couple of people mention that with a biggish engine, one of the easier ways to get it into a frame is to actually lay the engine on its side and then put the frame onto it and bolt it up. And that's quite true. I've done that before. So I think I did that with a Gold Star engine and a couple of other engines. But this time, because of the way I'm doing it, I'm going to fit the engine into, as I say, the rolling chassis. So I'll get it all set up so it's a reasonably easy lift into there. Probably get George to come over and give me a hand. One of you sent me, actually even sent me a drawing of a sort of handle that was made up to bolt onto the intake manifold. I think what I'm going to do is put a 1/2 inch rod through the bottom mounting and maybe one in the front, or just simply one down there, and then hold this to lift it up. You'll see when we get to it, but the idea is to just shuffle it off a box into the frame on that jack with the bottom mounting higher than the frame. Then I'll just lower it down. I'll put the 1/2 inch bolt through the bottom, and then I can set the other mountings. So we're going to do all of that today. So we should have the engine in today. This bit won't take long. It's 8 big dome nuts to put on the top of there, some bits on the end. Of course, there's things that go through the center normally. This thing, the camshaft is actually hollow, and that goes right through, and that would have the points on one end and what have you. But of course, we've got the self-contained electronic ignition that's going to go in to replace the alternator, so we don't need that. But there's various bits that go on here. There's little end caps and things that go on, so we'll do all that. I found the little neutral switch, so I've just screwed that in to fill that hole, and we'll take it from there. Took the Henderson stuff along to Dave's. He reckoned we needed 2 inlet valves, obviously a new set of valve springs, and we're going to try and sleeve the cast iron valve guides. Unfortunately, I didn't see valve guides listed. It was sort of a, as he mentioned it, plan B in case we messed up. We could replace the guide, but that isn't an option now. So we'll see what goes with that. Alright, so let's get on, get the top end and what have you finished on this so we can put it in the frame. Now, as you can see, there's no continuous face here. So there isn't a gasket. So we use gasket cement, and then the various covers that go on to these places, they all have gaskets or O-rings so that the whole thing gets sealed up. So let's put this on. It goes on like that. Now of course, on one side that would sit flat, but the other side, because it's top dead center, but the other side we've got cams, well, one cam in here on a valve holding it up. So the next thing we put on is, again, on the advice of one of our viewers, I got the big brass washers for here. And then we have 8 big dome nuts. Now these there's a sequence for them, of course, alloy head, so you don't want it to warp as you're tightening it down. So we're going to tighten them in the recommended sequence, and to £25 for these 10mm ones, and then there's a lesser torque for the 2 8mm ones by the spark plugs, and the one 6mm one at the back. Felt a little bit tight going on there. Actually, I have 9 of these dome nuts, so they must have used a dome nut on something else. Oh, it looks like a bit of old gasket cement or something stuck in there. Just a little bit of something stuck in. Let me clean that. Oh, clean that out. Oh, I know what it probably was. They were like a rubbery sort of thing, the washers. I think it was a little bit of hardened rubber. Come on now, your 7 mates went straight on. There we go. Right, let me tighten these down now. I'll come back when we're going to torque them. Now then, I've got these all tightened down in sequence, just gradually tighten them. Actually, that's one more to go down. It's the last one. And I was tightening these and I thought, wait a minute, there's 4 holes there, and of course there are 4 more bolts, and I've been wondering where these 4 bolts went. So that is actually the last one. So I've gone round 2 or 3 times because, as I say, I was taking up the pressure on the valves on, I think, that side. So now I think we can do these. So the 10mm ones go to £25 and they go in this order. One. 2, 3. You all counting along with me? 4. 5. 'I don't know if you do this, but when I'm doing things like this, I tend to find a count, and I stop myself and say, you know, what are you doing, Michael? Why are you counting? But that's what happens when you work on your own all the time, you see. Right, then 8. Where are we? 9. Now we come to the 8mm ones, which are 14 foot-pounds. Of course, nobody's torque wrench goes in. Well, I suppose if you had the inch one. Oh. And these ones on the top take a 12mm socket. These ones in the sides, unless they're not the right bolts, although they are 8mm, take a 13mm socket. Okay, that's that one. Then that one. Then we have one 6mm one, which is 7 foot-pounds. And that's this one right in the back here. Can you see that? Actually, I mean, you can see the socket. Hold on a second. It's just down there. That's it. Actually, we were already down. Okay, so that's that. Then we come back to the last of these 8mm ones. So we're back up to £14. And we're starting with number 12. 12, 13, 14, and there's the last one. Okay, now I think we'll put on these end pieces. Now, as I mentioned, we're not putting the thing for the points and what have you in there, and I don't think, because there's a, where is it, you notice that end's threaded and there is a big nut to go on there, but that is to hold on that piece there, which is pinned on. There's a little pin, there's a little thing in there, that all goes on there. We're not doing any of that, but everything's clamped down, so I don't see as how anything can move. If I'm wrong, you'll be able to let me know, and we can work on this while it's in the frame, so we're not getting there. Anyway, this, I don't know if they had oil leaks, but this is a real belt and braces layout, or belt and suspenders as they would say here, because they use a gasket, an O-ring and an oil seal. So is that overkill or what? Right, so as per usual, an oil seal. You know, this is something when you're making videos like this, how much do I say? You know, if this is the first video you've watched of mine, then you've never seen me put valves in, this, that and the other, but the rest of you will be sitting there saying, yeah, I know the oil seal. But anyway, so that goes on there. There are two little depressions to go around them, and another one to give us clearance for the spark plug. So hang on, let's make sure we've got the holes lined up. There we go. And that oil seal doesn't go on there very far. And there are 3 screws that hold this on. And they all have lock washers on them. Again, I'll just do one side because the other side is identical. I could have put these on, of course, when the engine was in the frame, but I don't really think these are going to add much weight to it. Got these screwdrivers with the rubber grips. As I say, they're not made for people dealing with oil and petrol and stuff because it adversely affects the rubber grips. Now the strange thing here is that, as I say, we've got an oil seal, we've got an O-ring, we've got a gasket, and yet the outer cover, as far as I can see, I was going to say I'll look in the parts book, but of course I think this is one of the pages that's missing. Oh, parts book. I phoned up Speed and Sport Inc. There's the thing. Speed and Sport Inc. are the Yamaha people in Pennsylvania. Speed and Sport are over in California, and I actually phoned them by accident. I started saying, oh, I bought this so-and-so, and I could hear the fella at the other end saying, whoa, wait a minute. And then when I let him speak, he said, wrong Speed and Sport, so I just had the wrong one in my phone. Anyway, I phoned up, and Cindy, who looks after the parts, was very good. She said straight away, oh, I'm sorry, we'll send you another one. And I told her which pages were missing, and then she phoned me up to tell me that oh, we've just checked, and sort of the files that we print these out from, all from Yamaha, all have those diagrams missing. So I'm stumped. I don't know. I don't think there's an O-ring that goes in there. They must just rely on it being a lip. Anyway, I haven't got the 2 screws sorted off the side. So let me put that on and put the one on the other side, and then we'll come back. Now I've put what would be the sort of ignition cover on the other side, so those 2 are ready. So now what I'm going to do is set the valves, and then we'll put these covers on, which have an O-ring and have little domed nuts that hold them. I'm missing a stud, so I'll have to make a stud up for there, but we won't let that hold us up. Right, according to the book, these are 12 thou for all the valves. That's just a little bit less. So oh, that was tight. At least they've got the practical valve. What am I looking for? There it is. Instead of those stupid eccentric cam things. I hate them on the B25s. Right, so that's just a nice slide and fit. So we will, I'm going to get in the way here, but it can't be helped. We'll hold that in place while we tighten the lock nut up. Just nice. Alright, then that's going to go on there like that. Now 3 of these, the 2 inlet and 1 exhaust, are this shape. You notice that one is square. Where is it? That one goes on there. And these are all 6mm and they are 8mm. And the reason for that is that apparently on some of the models they had a valve lifter as a decompressor on that cylinder. But neither of the, well, in fact none of the engines I've had, I don't think I've seen one with that. I'll have to look see which models they were. Maybe it was something they put on originally and then realised they didn't need them. I'll just put them on to hold that in place. Right, let me do the rest. It's all just exactly the same way to do the valves, and then we'll show you it all together. Now we'll put the cam chain tensioner on. So, as I mentioned before, there's apparently 2 or 3, I think there's 3 different ones of these. One actually has a little wheel thing that goes inside, and I think that's on the other engine I've got. But this one just had a straight sprung plunger. So we're, if you're wondering what I'm doing while I'm talking, I'm greasing up this, ready to put its new gasket on. Just do that, right. So this is the doodad. There's the plunger with a, see it's got like a domed end and there's a depression in there. There's a curved depression for that to fit in so that it can move like that and won't bind up as the thing. So that goes in there, that goes in there, and then that screws in there like that. Gasket goes on. And then, oh, there should be 6 bolts for this. There's only 4 bolts in the bag. So we'll put those 4 on. And then I'll go off and find the other 2. there's, that's good. Yep. And the last thing we have to do here, you can't see it from where you are, but there's a thing that goes onto the back of the cylinder head that was part of the emissions control thing, which of course we also are not going to use. So I've got to make a little blanking plate for that. That one didn't go in. Started to feel tight. Oh, there it goes. Right, I'll put these 4 on because these are little chromed 6mm bolts, so I must have the other 2. As soon as I've tightened this up, I'll switch you off while I go and look for the other 2. Right, well I can't find them, so I'm not going to spend ages looking out to get this done. So what we're going to do, according to the book, is you screw this in until the plunger is level with the end of that. So let's do that. I can see it. Guess we're compressing the spring, it's coming. Nearly there. Right, that's it. Now we fasten up our lock nut. Should have got a spanner out ready for that, shouldn't I? That isn't that size, is it? Oh, look at that. That goes on like that. Then there's an O-ring in there. Goes on there. And I'll tighten that up. I won't make you wait while I find a spanner for it. So there's that on. So, let's see. Got a thing to make at the top, so I'll show you that next. Last thing on the back of the engine is a little plate to go there. Normally there's a box with 2 tubes or 2 outlets that go to the airbox to recircle, I suppose, unburnt gases or whatever. We're just going to put a plate on there to blank that off. So this is a piece of 1/8 inch alloy plate. Actually, let me redo these because we're putting stainless steel in alloy, so let's put a bit of grease on. Well, I'll do that and then we'll come back when we move around to the front for the oil feed to the rockers. Now, the last thing we're going to put on the engine before we put it in the frame is the oil feed up into the head. Now it gets pumped along here, up into there, then up through this, and there are 2 banjo bolts that go into the top there. So we've got new, freshly annealed copper washers, which they just keep calling gaskets in the parts book, which is somewhat stupid in my opinion, because, you know, yes, it's a gasket, but it's telling you that it's a telling you that it's a copper washer specifies exactly what it is. Come on, be a good boy. Oh yeah, I don't know what that was about. So that goes on there. Like that. And this. Goes on there like that. I didn't show you it, but it's you know, it's a cup and cone sort of fitting. Then in the top we have 2 big banjo bolts, which again have copper washers. So let's put the bottom copper washer in, the one that goes under the banjo. That. Then we have one that goes on the banjo. That gets screwed in there, one there. So well, let me raise you up so you can see the top. Are you ready for this? Nearly gave her a nosebleed there, didn't I? Right, and zoom. How's that? Here you can see where the banjo bolts go in. There's always one that's got to be awkward, isn't there? Come on now. Just going past that bottom copper washer, I think. There it goes. Right, so they just get tightened up. Tighten up the big nut at the bottom. And we're all set. So that's the engine ready to go in the frame. So let me move stuff on the bench here and get the rolling chassis out. Here's the plan for putting the engine in. You can see I've got all the paint protected with old inner tube, so I never throw away inner tubes. And that's stood on a box. It's actually standing on its engine stand at the moment, so we'll pull the bolt out the bottom, pull the engine stand out the way, then it'll be sitting just the same height basically as on the jack. So we'll lift it up, put it in, slide the 1/2 inch mounting bolt through. When I put it in, it'll actually be a little high, so I can just lower the jack, slip that bolt through, and once that's through, we'll take all the rubber off, put the rear engine mountings on, and then I can just carry on working with the rest of the engine mountings, and then we'll finish the motor off. Now, while I was waiting to get a lift for this, I got thinking about this thing here where I just put a plate on. And it struck me, I don't know, can you see there's a hole at the bottom which goes down here. This not only vents sort of the headspace into the air filter box, but it's also of course got the pressure relief, more or less, for the crankcases. So I'm going to put this back on, but I've taken that thing off that would send the hoses to the airbox. I'm going to put a PCV valve on it. I think it'll all fit on in there. If not, I'll just shorten it and put the PCV on. So there you go. Plus, I found some Allen bolts that I didn't know I had, some 6mm ones. So I can do these with 6mm Allen bolts. And let me pull you back. I don't know if you can see, well, I had enough to do this down here. So let me bolt this on, and as I say, we'll wait until I can get a lift to do this engine. Right. So as I say, there's one bolt under there. Yep. Take that piece of wood out of the way. Okay. Now then, we should be able to get that rod right through the bottom. That's the one. Because we'll be able to tape on it. Okay. Now, whoops. There we go. Okay, you want that right out of there? You want to wait? I can leave it for now. Okay, let's see what this is. Of course, it's stopped just as I was going to it. So that's it. Okay. I can wangle it from there. And you want to get the rod out of there first, or is that set right on there? Yeah, if you want to pull that right, I can just hold that way while you do that. There. Tell you what, pop that one through. I'm not down in there all the way yet, though. We've got to go back this way. We've got to drop the jack down a little bit. We started, but wind the jack down a little bit more. We just caught on the top here. Okay. No, there's nothing on the jack. Okay. So let me see if I can just go forward a little bit. Or it's stuck at the top. It's actually. Would you believe it? It's that thing I put on. Oh, let me take that back off, and then. You probably put it on afterwards, huh? Yeah. Because it'll go under that. Let me get the one I can cut at angle. That's not far now. I was wondering whether to put it on or not, and I thought, yeah, it should go in. Doesn't like the John Deere's. He doesn't like this. Doesn't. The Husqvarna's a good machine. Todd's got one. I don't like the gas tank under the seat. Most of the ones now have a gas tank under the seat. Not many more places you can put it really on a not anymore. On a lawn tractor. The Toro she's got is an older one, so the tank's right up in the front right here. Linda said keep for a backup. It ain't worth putting the money into for backup. Whoops, you gotta rebuild it or whatever you gotta do. It's still not. Till I pull it back out. I can. There we go, an angle this way. There we go. Yeah. Almost looks like we gotta go forward a little bit. We're behind the hole here. There we go. Now we're down too far. About
half an inch. Come on. Okay, it started in there. Okay, we hit the other side. Let me see how far out we are. I gotta come to me. Oop. Something. That's all it. Wonder if we crank that jack up a little.
I want to be round a little bit to the front.
There we go. That's it. Perfect.
Too bad.
No.
Here is a perfect example of what happens when you change your mind. See, I wasn't putting that on, I was going to have a flat plate here. And my God, it just fits in between those two. It's not touching anything. So, PCV valve on there, and we're set. So let me set to and start putting engine plates on. Thought I'd put the top one on first, so then I've got top and bottom. Then I put the back one in and go from there. So, you can see, can you see? Yeah. You can see how, so I'm going to jack it up a little bit and that should bring it round. There it goes. To there. So, got my bolts greased. The way the jack's broke. Oh God! Hold on. All right, we'll try again. Okay, while I was talking on the phone, I put the top bolt in on the other side, so we should be all right. Of course, I left the Allen thing over there. That should go in there. Now, once I got this in, I can take off. Oh yeah, perfect. I can take all the rubbers off and start putting the other ones on. So let me do that. Now the next thing I'm going to fit is the electronic ignition, because I want to run the wires up through the tube. I've already got a little bit of, actually it's thin stainless steel rod pushed down from a hole at the top down to here. So it's easier to do that before I put the front engine mounting plate on. So we'll just put this on and then I can do the last engine mounting and tighten them all up. And then actually we'll finish this side off. So let's have a look, see what we've got. This has a register on the back which fits in between these things here. And that goes on there with two. Let me find the hole first. There we go. Fit it in there. That one in. Actually, I'm surprised they didn't give little spaces for the back of this, but it is sitting on about 5 points there, so I would think we can tighten this down without worrying about it warping. Alright, the next thing it says to put on is the rotor. Now you may remember from the Enfield, these rotors aren't keyed on. So that goes on there.
Then we put the stator on. The stator is the important thing because that's where the wires are, and I need to know where the wires are going to go. This has got a register on the back of it as well to fit into there. And then there are a couple of ways you can mount this, but that's got the 3 screws lined up. Now then there are 2 long ones. There it is. So it's about in the middle for some slight adjustment. Now the third one they give you is 12mm long. But I don't think for 1 second that is going to reach all the way through there. It's not. So I'll have to find a longer. These are only 5mm. I have some 5mm bolts. Hang on a second. Yes, I had some 5mm Allens from a couple of little jobs. Actually, I think fitting the instruments on the Monster. So we put that in there. Okay. Now then, this is going to go come on now. We have to slacken the I thought it should go through there. That goes through there. Now then, I bet there's a big grommet-y thing that goes in there, and of course I don't have it. Well, we can split it and put it on. Right, let me pull you back so you can see everything. Well, almost everything anyway. We're going to go down through the bottom of there. Like that. Through there like that. Then we're going to put that, I've put a little turn on and I put that into the bottom of the plastic cover on that bullet connector. Then I'm going to put some tape on because we need it to be as small as possible to get in. And hopefully these will go through this hole. I did try them in there. Oh, hang on, before I do this we want to put the grommet on because there's a grommet to go in this bottom hole. It's a 3/8 hole. Which I think was that one. No, smaller one than that. I wonder if I was planning to split this. That's the... I must have been planning to split this grommet, I think, because that won't go through there. So we can fit the grommet last. Alright. So we'll put that on there. As tight as we can. And then we're going to put the other one on like that. It's always nice actually when sometimes you'll see they'll make one wire shorter than the other one, and it makes it so much easier to get them through. But anyway, we'll keep our fingers crossed here. And we want this to be as tight as we can get it to squish up the plastic and make this as right. Let me move you around, and I think you're going to be able to see everything from there. I will do this on this side, or try to, so I'm not in your way. Alright. Oh, now come on, I fitted these. Don't tell me this hole isn't big enough. Oh, there we go. There's one in. I think I'm still in the way, aren't I? There's the other one in. The hole at the top actually is bigger because it's protected out of the weather. Here we come. Well, I'm just going to get there we are. That's as much as we can do. Which I think, again, I measured this out before. So it should be alright. No. Can't find the end. No, there it is. See, I couldn't find the end there. As I say, I'll put a grommet on the bottom. And there we go, our wires are through. And then we have, where are we? I still have to do this. I'm going to mount that in there. And you see those connect to that. Where are we? Those two connect to there. In fact, I'm going to put these in for the simple reason that if I do that, there's less chance of losing the wires. They're not going to go back down there, but you never know. I didn't hear this one click. There we go. So that's going to go in there like that, and then these two spade connectors, we're going to have the coil in there. So we need to drill and hole and mount that. So let me do that. Now I've got that bolted on. I actually used a nylock nut on the back of that. So the next thing is I've run the HT leads through, so they'll go nicely to there. That black and white one is for the kill switch. So then, and very nicely they've put, have they? Normally they put two different size spade connectors on. No, they haven't. But they look as if they are. Hang on, let me see if it says anything. Orange one. Oh, okay, the orange and black can be attached to either terminal. So we're all right. Put that one on there. They could have done with splitting that a bit more. Oh, actually it moves. As they say, shouting before I'm bit. Now then. All we need now is two bolts in there and we're done. So let me put two short 1/4 inch bolts in there and then we'll put the front engine mounting on. So there's the coil mounted. We'll put a couple of cable clips in and tidy all this up. So all I've got to do now is put the grommet on at the bottom and then we can put the front engine mounting plates on. Now I've just added up how much video I've done there and I've got the full 40 odd minutes, so we'll break there and I'll continue, and for next week we will tan the ignition, put the outer covers on and get further on with it. So until then folks, stay safe and enjoy yourselves.